What up, everybody? In the Raising Kanan Season 3 finale, Kanan staged an abduction with Ronnie, Snaps, and Pop in order to get a chance to smoke Ronnie for taking a shot at Kanan's mother, Rock. Ronnie only wanted the work and the connect from Rock, but Kanan asked for $500,000 on top of that to better convince Ronnie of his motives. And Rock had to borrow this money because she didn't have that kind of liquid cash laying around. But Rock knew who to turn to get the money, her newfound friend Stefano Marchetti, godfather of the Italian mafia. Now keep in mind that the year is still only 1992, and asking for $500,000 in 92 is like asking for over $1 million in 2024. But after explaining to Stefano the circumstances concerning her son and offering up her house and her shopping plaza as collateral, Stefano agreed to loan Rock the money, but he told her that he would have to lay a pretty heavy vig on it, meaning the borrowing fee or the interest, whatever you want to call it, is going to be something crazy. Most likely, she borrows $500,000, would have to pay back $750,000 or even more. Then Rock arrived to the spot with Howard to make the drop, with Marvin looking out from around the way. Notice that Rock didn't even trust Howard enough to carry the money back. Then when Rock tossed the money to Ronnie, Kanan smoked Ronnie, leading to Rock then smoking Howard and Marvin coming through and saving both Kanan and Rock from Ronnie's hitters. I was thinking Kanan had his plan thought all the way through to killing Ronnie, but didn't consider Ronnie's soldiers. But that might be the real reason why Kanan asked for the $500,000, knowing that after he smoked Ronnie that he would have to answer to Ronnie's soldiers. And possibly Kanan had intentions of paying them off with part of that $500K if necessary. But because Marvin came through and saved Rock and Kanan, it didn't come down to that, leaving 4 dead bodies on the floor of that warehouse, Howard, Ronnie, and Ronnie's 2 soldiers. This was an attempt by Rock to try to take the heat off her and her family from the Fed's investigation, trying to make it look like Ronnie and his crew were running the operation at the projects. Howard was their inside man, and the mafia came through and cleaned house. But the reason I don't think this plan will work is because the fact that Ronnie just got out of prison the same night that the projects were shot up. So unless the feds think Ronnie immediately got out of prison and went to war with the ops, they will know that there's more to the story. Then there's also the fact that Rock was seen all over town with Howard the same day that he was killed, and made a trip to see Snaps and Pops to find out exactly what Ronnie wanted, with Howard as her backup. Now, I'm not saying the Snaps and Pop are snitches, but they might also use that info against Rock to blackmail her or something like that. Then keep in mind that Ronnie also owed a debt to Snaps and Pop, and they might have been expecting a cut from that $500,000. Getting me to the question, will Rock try to return the money to Stefano immediately, or will she keep it and try to flip it or do something else with the money? The first thing we got to consider is, would Stefano even take the money back straight up with no vig? My answer is, I don't think he will. Once that money was put in the bag and delivered to Rock, you got to believe that she was going to owe him that vig no matter what. Keep in mind that Stefano was the godfather of the Italian mafia. So when it comes to money, that $500,000 was only like a drop in the bucket for Stefano. So with that said, there's a chance that Stefano was glad to loan Rock the money as a way to keep her under his thumb. Stefano might very well just prefer another favor from Rock instead of the money, like when Marvin smoked Sal. One more thing to consider is, what was actually Rock's plan if Kanan wouldn't have smoked Ronnie? Was she planning on paying Ronnie and getting her son back, then grinding to make the money back to pay Stefano? Or is that why Marvin was initially there to smoke Ronnie and his soldiers when they were walking out to get the money back? One thing to keep in mind is that Rock made arrangements to get the money, but I never saw her make arrangements with Quan for Ronnie to start working with him. But because the fact that Snaps and Pop do know Stefano, there is a chance that something was worked out to give Ronnie that plug off screen. But at the same time, if Rock was intending on giving Rock her plug, how would she have made the $500,000 to pay Stefano back? At the same time, she still does have a good relationship with Joaquin, so she might have got back into the coke game with Joaquin if she had to turn her heroin operation over to Ronnie. Something else to consider is the fact there's 4 dead bodies at the crime scene, and the investigation is into organized crime, being connected with the Italians in some kind of way. Will this possibly bring more heat down on Stefano? We've already seen Stefano brought in and questioned earlier in Season 3, and we also know that his fish shop is bugged. That's why they go outside to talk business. So if he weren't to accept the money back, but instead try to keep Rock under his thumb, could we see Rock try to take out Stefano herself? Keep in mind that Stefano wants to smash Rock as well. So we could definitely see Rock using this to her advantage in Season 4 in one way or another. She could possibly put a hit out on Stefano this way, similar to how Dre was able to set up Diego Jimenez in Power. Then something very important to keep in mind is how they zoomed in on the family portrait at Stefano's house in the finale. This is almost reminiscent of the family picture that was at Francesco Lombardi's mansion in Book 2 of him, Noma, and their daughter. Did Rock or Marvin peep this picture on the wall? Because from the looks of things, Stefano has or had a family. Obviously, the picture on the wall was from a few decades prior because Stefano still had black hair in the photo. And from the looks of things, Stefano doesn't have a wife or family in the picture as far as living with him. But the picture showed what appeared to be Stefano with his wife and 2 daughters. And we can guarantee that they didn't show this picture for no reason. So if Stefano's still married, could we possibly see Rock try to blackmail Stefano by sleeping with Stefano or acting like she's going to sleep with him and then threaten to tell his wife like Marvin did the man who owns the Chinese food supply company? But I think most likely Stefano's wife is probably dead, but he likely has grandchildren from his 2 daughters. And like they say, everyone has a weakness. And this could be exactly how Rock is able to get from under Stefano's thumb if he makes an issue about that money. This could also be part of the reason why the Thomas family might eventually have to take on new identities other than Kanan, because the Mafia might be after the Thomas family. Then at the same time, just knowing that Stefano's asking for a heavy vig and Rock being a hustler, she might just take that $500,000 and try to flip it. Because at the end of the day, if she doesn't tell Stefano anything, he might just think that she had to give that money to somebody to get her son back. And even if he finds out that Ronnie ended up dead, one of his soldiers might have robbed him. This would give Rock plenty of time to flip that money and just keep the same pay schedule they originally agreed on. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.